to talk. How much you want back? How much you want to bet? Because I came up here alone. How much y'all want back? How much you want back? Just call it out. Huh? 100? That's a bet.
I'm going to be the one. Obviously, I'm going to be the one coming out victorious. And, you know, we put on a hell of a show for y'all. So, tune in, buy the fight. Like I said, it's going to be a hell of a night. Thank y'all.
Boxing superstar Gervonta "Tank" Davis returns to defend his WBA lightweight world title against WBA super featherweight world champion Lamont Roach on Saturday, March 1st. Lamont Roach is fired up and ready, vowing to take down Tank and prove he's the superior fighter.
What's your game plan?
Whoop his ass. I'm always looking for a knockout. No matter what, I'm always prepared for 12 rounds. But I'm always looking for a knockout, and if I get the chance, I'm going to try to knock his head off.
Lamont Roach Sr., the father and trainer of Lamont Roach Jr., has expressed great confidence in his son's readiness to claim the title. According to Lamont Roach Sr., Roach Jr. is well prepared, more than enough to win the title against a strong fighter.
We blessed to be in this position right now. We're looking for an outstanding fight come March 1st. You best believe that Lamont the Reaper Roach gonna be more than ready to win his second world title.
This is a hell of an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna conquer it. Everybody know what I'm coming here to do. If you don't, then shit, you're gonna be in for a surprise. I know he won't be surprised. I think he actually took this fight for the naysayers and all this and all that people talking shit about the fight. I think he actually took the fight because he know that I'm a dog, and he want to prove his skills against the dog. So I'm gonna show y'all what happens when two dogs get in the ring together.
Gervonta Davis will not return to the ring in 2024 after it was announced that his next fight against Lamont Roach has been suspended until 2025. In this fight, Tank was scheduled to defend his WBA lightweight title. However, without giving any further reasons, the fight will no longer take place on December 14th as originally planned. Thus, Davis only fought once this year when he knocked out his compatriot Frank Martin in 8 rounds.
Yeah. Thank all day, baby. Thank all day. Easy work. Easy work. My money goes to it. All right, guys.
Right in the front, right here. Front rest there.
Easy work, baby.
In 2023, he only fought twice, in January against Dominican Hector Garcia and in April against Ryan Garcia. He defeated both by knockout. With this announcement, Gervonta Davis will return to the ring on March 1st, 2025 in Brooklyn, New York, although he remains one of the main boxing cards in authority despite his lack of activity. Gervonta Davis says 2025 will be his last year in boxing. Responding to a simple question about his plans for 2025, the World Boxing Association lightweight champion said, "After next year, I'm out of it, out of the sport."
Why are you retiring?
What trash?
What changed? What made you?
Trash, garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD, who will be?
I'm out of it.
Gervonta, something should have happened during this time, because when I saw you at the Frank Martin press conference, it looked like you were like the talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment. And now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing since you were a kid and everything?
Fed up with the
Where's Calvin Ford? Is Calvin Ford or Leonard Edelby? Usually they're around to.
You think you might be gaining love for it though? You never know. Like say you got to squawk today.
Davis doubled down on his comments when he spoke with reporters after the news conference, referring to the sport as trash and saying he looks forward to a quiet life with his children after he fought several times in 2025. The Roach fight at Barclays Center will be his first since he knocked out Frank Martin in June.
25 is at the next year. I'm out of it.
After our second fight. You're out of it?
Yeah,
Care to elaborate on that?
out of the sport.
After our second fight. Nah, no, I'm gonna win, bro.
Nah, I could tell you my fights.
Currently, Tank Davis, who remains unbeaten with a record of, is in the top 10 of the ring's pound-for-pound rankings and is number 8 in ESPN's rankings, as well as remaining the top-ranked fighter in his division. But for his talent, he could be ranked higher if he appeared more often. This was evidenced by the spectacular knockout he achieved against Frank Martin in June, in his first fight after serving a 44-day jail sentence last summer for violating the terms of house arrest stemming from a hit-and-run incident in November 2020. He was also in talks with Ukrainian fighter Vasily Lomachenko for a high-profile fight this autumn, but negotiations fell through, although it would have been a great card, so he had to settle for a much less attractive event. Boxing commentator Tim Bradley fields media questions from Fight Hype about Gervonta "Tank" Davis' upcoming fight against Lamont Roach, and says the move is simply par for the course for Tank, who continues to benefit from the protective custody of PBC. So when asked about his thoughts on the fight, Bradley shared some of these words. Bradley said, "Tank gon' do what Tank gon' do. Tank gon' do what Tank has always done. You'll know what that is. The fans ain't stupid. You've got your Tank supporters out there that feel that this guy ducked, this guy didn't want to fight, and all this stuff. Man, like before Shakur even signed to Cordina, it was a perfect opportunity for him to negotiate with Shakur." Tim Bradley, never one to hold back, recently shared his unfiltered thoughts on Gervonta Davis's rise and the strategies behind his success. He pointed out a key pattern in Tank's career, questioning whether he's truly faced top fighters without manipulating weight divisions to his advantage, as he did with Ryan Garcia. He added, "But it just always seems that Tank, and this isn't just me hating, this is factual, tell me last true top A-dog where he didn't suck him down in weight so he can have an advantage of saying, oh, he too big, this and that, like he did with Garcia. Who was the last? It was Pedraza, and that was years ago, dog. But since then, who else?" Tim Bradley didn't hold back when discussing Frank Martin, calling him out for taking a slow path in his career. He added, Frank Martin is green. To me, it's like, bro, you're almost like a 30-year-old prospect, dog. Fight the best. Fight Shakur. Oh, he tried to fight Lomachenko, but Lomachenko didn't want that smoke. He retired Loma. All this. You would have fought that 5-6 years ago, but you were in protective custody. Straight up, PBC is protective custody, bro. In this bout, Tank was booked to defend his WBA lightweight title. Nevertheless, without giving any further explanations, the contest will no longer take place on December 14th as formerly scheduled. Thus, Davis only fought once this year, when he knocked out his compatriot Frank Martin in 8 rounds. Tim Bradley didn't hold back when calling out the matchmaking in boxing. He stated, "Look, they've built a hell of a product. Look, man, makeup covers a lot of imperfections. Matchmaking can do the same thing. What are you scared of? That's what I'm trying to understand. Put that dude in there with a lion. He knocked out a lion, that's what I'm talking about. So that's just me. That's what I think." Davis boxed just once this year, beating Frank Martin on June 15th after a duo of victories in 2023 over Hector Luis Garcia as well as Ryan Garcia. Davis, one of the best young lower weight boxers across the globe currently, with some individuals readily denoting him as the face of boxing, should of course be far more active than he is and has been.
Logically, even though I think I won both of them fights, not really. It was so long ago. We was like 16.
Remember I beat you in our tournament twice?
You say what?
I beat you in the tournament twice. I beat them in the state, and then they did something
beat me
like...
in the regionals. They cheated in Baltimore, took a point from me, fool. Come on. We sent the video to USA Boxing. They said I should have won. They sent me to the Nationals. That was the only reason why I went.
Roach will be on an upward trajectory up from 130 pounds, where he reigns as WBA champion and is ranked number 5 by ESPN. Against Davis, he'll be a major underdog. Roach, who hails from Washington, D.C., won the title with a split decision triumph over Hector Luis Garcia in November 2023. The 29-year-old retained his belt with an 8th round TKO. Marching up in weight to face Tank, Roach will enter the ring as a significant underdog. Crushed only by Jamel Herring, who overpowered him back in November of 2019 down at 126 pounds. Roach has won 6 competitions on the spin since. Roach holds the WBA super featherweight title and exercises his right to challenge for the WBA belt in the next division up. The 29-year-old veteran has won 6 in a row. This year, his only fight will be a June 28th mismatch victory over challenger Feargal McCrory. Even though Davis is a 2-time world champion and widely considered one of the best in the sport today, Roach isn't intimidated by the challenge ahead. He stated, "I'm gonna show y'all what happens when 2 dogs get in the ring together." This statement underscores the level of intensity he's bringing to the fight. Roach isn't worried about Davis's reputation or his undefeated record. He's focused on what's going to happen when they face off. 2 fierce competitors, each determined to win. For Roach, this fight isn't about being afraid of Davis's power or skills. It's about proving that he's just as dangerous, just as hungry, and just as ready to claim victory. Gervonta Tank Davis coach Kenny Ellis came to the defense of his fighter over the backlash from fans over his choice of super featherweight Lamont Roach Jr. for his next title defense of his WBA lightweight belt on December 14th in Houston. Teddy Atlas recently praised Gervonta Davis, calling him an elite fighter and acknowledging his incredible skills in the ring. Atlas highlighted Tank's power, speed, and technical abilities, emphasizing that Davis has all the traits of a top-tier boxer.
Roach, well, obviously he's a solid fighter. But for me, Tank Davis is in the elite class of boxing right now. You know, he's just in the higher altitudes of the sport. He's in the top 5 for me. You know, when you talk about the top 5 best pound for pound right now, you're saying so. And for me, he's there not just because he's a puncher, because he's an all-around package. You know, he can box, he can counterpunch, he can go catch you.
Atlas added that Tank's potential is through the roof. With his impressive performances, Davis has earned his place among boxing's best, according to the legendary trainer.
Tank Davis, at the end of the day, he's earned the right to have. I don't think anyone is a layup. I don't think anybody is a freebie. They're not. But I think he's earned the right to be able, you know, he's fought everyone. People say, oh, he didn't fight. I hear some, thank God I don't really go on the internet too much because I lose my mind. Well, some of these people say things are silly.
Oh, it's crazy.
No, they're just silly.
Keyboard warriors.
They're ignorant.
Yeah.
Like some of them. I mean, some of them are smart, but there's great fans out there.
Yeah,
I give you all the credit in the world.
Fans view this fight as just a continuation of the type of matchmaking that Tank Davis has had his entire career, and they feel that he doesn't want to take risks with his career. Ellis says Roach can fight, and he's a 7-time national champion. However, in the pros, he lost to Jamel Herring a few years ago. He can't punch, and he barely beat Hector Luis Garcia last year, a fighter Tank Davis easily knocked out in 2023. Fans feel that Tank Davis doesn't need to be raiding the super featherweight division time and time again to choose his opponents. Coach Kenny Ellis replied when asked about Gervonta Tank Davis' next fight against Lamont Roach Jr. on December 14th. They fought in the amateurs 2 or 3 times, with Tank being the winner. They were spared a few times. Tank got the best of the sparring. They're just bigger and stronger now and older. Tank's last 4 or 5 opponents had filmed how they beat him up in sparring. If that's the case, that happens. But on fight night, we all know the outcome. Ellis said about Roach, "It's not Tank's fault. The guys with the so-called names turned Tank down. They priced themselves out because people don't know Lamont. He's not as popular. They think he can't fight, but Lamont can fight, and he has a hell of a pedigree. He's a 7-time national champion, and he's tough. He can fight." Tank Davis is not taking on the more talented fighters because he could fight the top contenders if he wanted. Guys like Andy Cruz, Keyshawn Davis, Raymond Muratalla, and Floyd Schofield would jump at the chance to fight Tank if they were offered. Ellis, when asked if he thinks Tank Davis is upset that he's not getting the big marquee fights that he feels he deserves, like Shakur Stevenson and Vasily Lomachenko at 135, he said, "I don't think he's upset. As long as he can get a fight, he's good. He just likes to fight. If those guys choose to fight him one day, they can get it. If not, life goes on." Kenny Ellis's cavalier attitude about Tank Davis not getting the important fights shows clearly that they're not fighting the best. They just want to underachieve to do the minimum because it's a lot easier than pushing yourself and working hard. Davis is coming off an 8th round knockout victory over Frank Martin earlier this year in Las Vegas. Prior to that, Tank flattened Ryan Garcia with a vicious body blow back in April 2023. As for Roach, he's bumping up from 100 130 pounds in hopes of knocking Tank off his tracks. The once beaten brawler has not competed since wiping the floor with Feargal McCrory last June in Washington. Promoter Eddie Hearn believes the problem that has put the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight in jeopardy of not happening is the amount of money that PBC is offering to Tank for this December 14th contest in Houston, Texas. Hearn feels that WBA lightweight champion Tank has grown accustomed to making a lot of money for his fights. He gets a certain amount for his minimum and then makes a lot of money with the PPV upside. This has worked because the fights Tank has been doing on PPV have brought in good numbers. However, Hearn thinks that Premier Boxing Champions, the management for Tank, knows the fight against Lamont Roach will bomb on PPV and at the box office. So when Tank comes to them to ask how much he's getting for the fight, they tell him that it's a lower figure than what he made in his last fight against Frank Martin.
What do you think of the announcement of the Gervonta Davis-Roach fight?
I think that, you know, it's had a lot of criticism, but it's not a bad fight. You know, Lamont Roach is a world champion. He's smaller than Gervonta Davis. The problem is not many people are aware of who he is or his ability. But he can fight. I don't think it's a huge fight, but not a terrible one.
Eddie Hearn revealed the reason why the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight could be moved off the December 14th date in Houston. I've heard they can't get a deal done with Tank. The venues are a problem. How are the venues a problem all of a sudden? It's very strange. Eddie Hearn, known for his sharp insights and candid takes, recently shared his perspective on Gervonta Davis's financial success. He further added, "This is my opinion. Gervonta Davis makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money because he does big fights, and he's been doing big pay-per-views. Probably what happens is he's on some kind of minimum but on a lot of upside. Because his shows have been doing very well, he's been making a lot of money." Lamont Roach put PBC in a tough spot because it's a fight that won't bring in big PPV numbers, no matter how they sell it. David Benavidez won't be fighting on the undercard to help bail Tank Davis out like he was earlier this year on June 15th. Having Benavidez on the undercard helped bring in the buys for Tank's fight against Frank Martin, which wasn't one that fans were excited to see. Hearn said, "Then he fights Lamont Roach, and although it's not a bad fight, he's going to bomb at the PPV, at the box office, everywhere in terms of what he's been doing." So he turns around and says to PBC, "How much am I getting for this fight?" They go, "Well, obviously we'll have to see how it does on the gate and the pay-per-view." When asked about the potential clash between Gervonta Davis and Vasily Lomachenko, Bob Arum delved into the fascinating contrast between the two fighters. He quickly dismissed age as a factor, instead emphasizing the real question. Arum said by pointing out the clear difference in their styles. He noted that while Tank's power is undeniable, Lomachenko's technical mastery is equally formidable. Can Tank's raw power match Lomachenko's legendary skill? That's what makes it such an intriguing fight. He concluded, "Tank doesn't have the skills of Lomachenko, but Loma doesn't have Tank's power. That's why these fights are so exciting." However, Arum's perspective may carry some bias, given that his top rank promotes Lomachenko. To balance the view, an experienced boxing trainer who has worked with multiple champions also weighed in on the potential showdown between Davis and Lomachenko. He added that although Lomachenko is still very fast and very skilled, he is a little bit older and not a big guy, and he may have a problem with a strong guy like Gervonta. Garcia said, "I think 5 or 6 years ago, I would pick Lomachenko right away. Right now, it might be too hard to. I think at his age and his size also, because he's not that big of a lightweight, I'd have to favor Tank. His power is just unbelievable, but Loma has got great skills, man. Loma is the one that would not be afraid of him. Loma is the one that will be in great shape." He acknowledged that only if Lomachenko employed a strategic approach, he could secure a victory despite the challenges posed by Davis's power and young age. He remarked, "So if he fights smart and knows how to win the first few rounds and then fights smart the rest of the rounds, there's a chance he could pull it off." The potential matchup between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach has boxing fans buzzing with excitement. Roach brings his own set of skills to the table, known for his speed and ring intelligence, making this a compelling challenge for Tank. While Tank's explosive power is his signature, Roach Jr. is no slouch, with the ability to counter and outthink opponents. This clash could be a thrilling display of strategy versus power, and fans can't wait to see how it unfolds in the ring. If you enjoyed this video, then hit a like and subscribe button, and thanks for watching.